Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today for a webinar about the online testing platform. My name is Julia Premier and I'm a program specialist here at the Scripps National Spelling Bee. I've been a part of what we call the B team, which is a full-time staff at the Spelling Bee for under 5 years now, which I did not realize until this moment, so wow. But anyway, we are here today to talk about the online testing platform, or the OTP. If you've joined us from previous webinars, welcome back, and thanks for choosing to spend another afternoon with us. If, along with learning about the OTP today, you're looking to learn more about the educator portal or how to enroll your schools, you can find our previous webinars on those topics on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, and also within the educator portal itself. One more thing before we get started real quick, you should see a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen, so please feel free to leave questions whenever you have them. We will hopefully have time at the end for me to answer your questions live, and we also have members of our Bee's customer service team helping me out today as well, and they're ready to help answer your questions throughout the presentation as well. Now, before we get any further, I want to take a quick moment to explain what the OTP is. So the OTP, or the online testing platform as we call it, is a tool for educators that the Bee developed in 2020 during the pandemic. It was created to solve the problem of needing to host spelling bees and is included free of charge as part of your school's enrollment in the Scripps National Spelling Bee program. The goal of the online testing platform is to help provide even greater flexibility for your school spelling bee program by allowing you to use online tests to determine classroom and school spelling bee champions. No matter the circumstances in your area, you can make the spelling bee work for you. And we think the bee is an important passage rite for students and a great recognition opportunity as well, especially as we head into our 100th anniversary year this year. But for now, let's get into the online testing platform. So give me 1 second to share my screen, everybody. And okay, so you're going to start off in the school portal. So this is what you will see when you log into your school's account in spellingbee.com and your school is fully enrolled, meaning that we have received payments. So you'll be able to access everything. And we are going to scroll down on the left-hand menu to the section that's titled School Level Online Testing. So let's take a quick look through of these 3 topics. So the first one is OTP Overview. This is where you'll be able to create your account in the OTP, so which we'll come back to this in a second. The second one is creating your online tests. This is a how-to section where you can find handy PDF documents and previous YouTube videos we've made about the OTP from both the school coordinator side, the educator side, and also the parent side. So there's videos for everybody, and there's PDF documents. You're welcome to spread those out to your community to help anybody who's be interacting with the online testing platform within your school spelling bee program. The other one we have is resources. So if and when the time comes that you'll need to email your students or parents about the online testing platform, we have these handy templates already written out. You will just need to enter in your school's name and test information. So if you wanted to test about registration instructions, it very handily opens it up. And we actually save it as a Word document. So it makes it super easy, super convenient. We want to make sure that we have all these resources available for you. But first, let's go into creating our account in the on-site testing platform, which will allow us to create tests in the OTP. So the way to create tests in the OTP is that you need to have an admin level account. And to do that, you need to select this register button here. Now, clicking this link will allow you to create an admin level account in the OTP. If you try and just visit online testing platform in general and create an account, they'll actually create a student level account, which will allow you to be assigned to tests, but not necessarily create tests. So you think you've accidentally made the wrong type of account, just reach out to us at spellingbee.com and we can help figure out the issue. But so again, real quick, to create an account in the OTP that will allow you to assign tests, you need to hit this register button here. And your next step then is to enter in your zip code for your school. And also real quick, to get this out there, your account at spellingbee.com, which gets you into the teacher portal, which is this page right here, is totally different from the online testing platform. So you'll have your email and your password for the school portal, and you will need to set a new email or at least a new password with the online testing platform. You could totally use the same email, but they're different websites, so you will need to set a password for each one. And accounts in the OTP do not roll over year to year. So if you have not yet created your account for this year, you will need to do so. And that is the same for students at your school as well. So every year, everybody starts off with a blank slate. So everybody will need to just create a new account. So again, I entered in my zip code for my school and I hit OK. And then I'm going to select the name of my school from this list. If you are going to create your account and you enter in your email and you don't see your school, that could be for two reasons. One is that the email, the zip code we have for your school is different in our systems. So just make sure that you are entering the right zip code for your school to make sure that you're like looking under the correct zip code. Another reason is that your school is not actually enrolled yet. So if you're trying to enroll, so if you're logged into one account, but you're trying to create a teacher account for a different school, if that school is not yet enrolled in our program, you will not be able to create an account in the OTP for that school, if that makes sense. But for now, I am going to make my account, which is just easy. It's just entering in all my information. Give me 1 second. Set my password. Oops. And then I hit register. And that is it. That is easy, that quick and easy to create an account in the online testing platform. So now that I've created my account, I can log in. So I'm just gonna make sure my password is correct. And this is where we're going to see that for admin accounts in the online testing platform, you do have a 2-factor verification purpose. That email does send out pretty quickly. So if you do not receive it within at least within 5 to 10 minutes of trying to enroll, so it doesn't show up in your email and you've checked your spam or your junk folders, I recommend that you again reach out to us just so we could try and make sure what's going on. We also recommend that you reach out to your school district's IT administration team to make sure that they whitelist our domains, which are spellingbee.com and online-test.spellingbee.com, because that could also be an issue in why that the verification code email would not be arriving to your inbox. But for now, I got it. So you just type in the verification code, and we are now in the online testing platform from the admin side. So let's do a really quick tour of what we see on this page before we go into creating the test itself. So the first thing is that we are on the test page and we could see the tests for our school. Something that's really cool in the online testing platforms that you can have multiple teachers create their own accounts in the OTP for your school and create their own tests. And you will actually see all the tests created for your school on this page. So far, no tests have created yet, but once we create a test, we'll be able to see that here. But it's a very handy resource to be able to see all the tests that have been created for your school. We also have the option to take a sample test, just in case you're curious what the students see on their side. It's just a quick, I think a 5-question test, and it's very, yeah. I actually don't know if I have my audio on, but if you click the audio button, you'll be able to hear audio pronounced either by Dr. Jock Bailey or the Bee's own editorial manager, Akshay Ahuja. And then you just click go through. This is exactly what the students see when they take their test. So just in case you're curious, you'd like to see what their experience with the OTP is. The next one we see is students. Here you'll see a list of all the students that have created an account in the OTP so far for your school. And remember, to assign a test to a student in the OTP, they will need an account. So you'll only see accounts for students that have, we'll only see students that have created accounts in this list. So we see we have 6 students, or 5 students. We have Henry Cavill, we have Sabrina Carpenter, we have James Bond, and also Jacques Bailey is back to keep practicing his spelling in preparation for this year's national finals. Another next option we have is templates. These are actually the same templates that you saw in the educator portal under resources. We like to have them available in multiple spots just to make sure they are accessible to everybody. And just so you know, the online testing platform does send out a few emails automatically for you. It sends out an email to a student's account when they've been assigned to a test. It sends out an email to a student's account when the test they've been assigned to opens. It sends an email out when the test has 24 hours before it closes and the student hasn't yet taken the test. And then it sends one final email once the test has ended, letting the student know that they could log in to access their full score report, which is where they see the questions, what they got right, what they got wrong, and if they got it wrong, what the correct answer is. So it does automatically send out emails for you, but you can have the option to send out reminder emails, which we'll go through once we've created our own test. So that was, and then resources. We have the different OTP guides, which are the PDFs for B coordinators, for different teachers at your school, and also for parents. We also have a downloadable copy of the Integrity Pledge that all students read and acknowledge before they're able to take a test they've been assigned to in the OTP. So just in case you need it for any reason, you can access it from resources. and it just downloads as a PDF for you. But for now, let's go and create our test. So again, you're going to go to the test pages and you're going to hit create test here in the bottom right. You do have the option to create the test yourself or assign the creation of it to somebody else at your school. This is a very easy way if you want to allow multiple teachers at your school to create their own accounts in the OTP. To do that, you would just click assign it, then enter in their name, their email, and you could enter in the type of test. It doesn't hold them to creating that specific type of test, but it just allows them the ability to, it will send them an email that will allow them to create their own admin account in the OTP. And once they set a password and log in, they'll be able to create their own tests. So it's an easy way just to help divvy out all that responsibility between all the educators and faculty members at your school. But for now, we are going to create the test ourselves. So I'm going to select I'll do it. And this is the test creation scene. So we are really just going to go through this top to bottom and just talk through all the options. So the first thing we see is use B's recommended settings, which I actually am going to skip for now, but we'll come back to that. The next one beneath that is a title where you just put the title of your test. So I'm going to say, this is Julia's 6th grade spelling and vocabulary test. The description, this is where you could put some additional information for your spellers about the test. You could put, for example, how many spelling questions, how many vocabulary questions, the dates the tests are open, if there is a time limit for the test. So for this test, I am going to say this is a 15-question spelling test and a 15-question spelling and a 10-question vocabulary test. Helps if I could spell vocabulary correctly. Goodness. And you'll see right there, spell check does not work in the online testing platform. So you do not have to worry when students are taking the test. It does not function as you saw me right now just failing to spell vocabulary. It's completely disabled within the website as a whole. So do not worry about that at all for your students. But going back to this, I am going to say 15-question spelling, 10-question vocabulary test will be open from, let's see, October 21st to the 25th, and students will have 25 minutes to complete the test. So perfect. Again, you can put whatever you want in this section. You could also leave it blank if you want. It's just in case you want to give your students a little additional information. The next question is whether you will want your spelling questions to be typed in the word or multiple choice. This is just as plain as it comes. If you choose multiple choice, which we recommend for younger grades between like first, second, third, for students when they go to take their test for spelling questions, just like in the sample test, they will see 4 options of how the word is spelled, and then they'll just select the option that they view as correct. For type in the word, the students will be able to physically type in the word themselves. So whichever works you want to do, it really, you have full control over the type of test you create. You want to make sure that you are able to customize the whole experience to what fits best for your students, your faculty, your teachers, your whole spelling bee community as a whole at your school program. So for my test today, I'm going to do type in the word, and then you get to choose either a classroom grade level test or a school level test. Now these are divided because they come from different word lists. So for me, I'm going to do a 6th grade test. So I click classroom and grade, and then I specifically select 6th grade level. This means that the words that appear on my test will be from the 6th grade level study list, which is available if you go back to the school portal real quick. Under Classroom Bees, it would be this 6th grade study word list right there. It would be where my words for this test are being pulled from. Like I said earlier, this will be a 15-question test. And then I think I said 10 vocabulary questions. And for those of us who are word people, not number people, it does automatically total the amount of questions on your test, which is very handy. And then we also have the option to include words not on the study list. So these are words that do not appear on our study list for this calendar year. So the 2024 to 2025 program year. They do not appear in a study list, so they're purely just unstudied words. You can include them if you like to add a little bit more difficulty to your test. And also they do mimic more of a traditional oral spelling bee program, where eventually there is a point in the list where it gets to unstudied words and the students haven't seen those words before. So you're welcome to include that option for your test. If you want to do 25 questions of either spelling or 24 vocabulary, it does automatically include unstudied words. If you only want it to be studied words, the maximum amount of spelling questions you could have is 20, and that's also the same for vocabulary. So the total amount of questions you can have in a test, like it is listed here, is 50 questions that are multiples of 5. And if you want only studied, the maximum amount of questions you have is 40. If you want unstudied involved as well, the maximum you could have is 50. But for my test, I do think I want unstudied words, so I'm going to check that box. Then the start date I said was the 21st. I'm going to have the end date being the 25th. And I do want this to be a time test, meaning my students will have an actual number of time they have to complete the test. And I'm going to say 25 minutes. And then we get the option to show score upon test submission. So that just means when students submit the test, they see they got a blank out of 25 correct. They see that on top of the screen. They will not know which questions they actually got correct or not until the test has closed, and they'll be able to download the full score report. So for my students, I don't want them to see that option until after the test is closed, so I'm not going to leave it. So I'm going to leave it unclicked for now. And before I hit create test, I'm going to scroll back up to the top of the page. The B recommended settings that I talked about earlier, these are just settings that we recommend as an easy way to just create a test, make it as easy as possible. And if we select that, it just automatically includes actually 15 spelling questions, 10 vocabulary, and it does have a duration of 30 minutes. So that's all that it does, is just recommend settings that we've seen work the best for different types of tests. However, again, for my test, I'm going to do 25 minutes. I got some smart kids. I think they'll be fine. So for now, I'm going to double check it real quick. Everything looks good. So I'm going to click create test. And now we could see that my test has been created. And now we see that showed up under this list, and we have 4 new options now. We have manage spellers, view test, delete, and update. So let's go through these left from right. So the first one we see is manage spellers. If we select that, this is where we'll be able to assign spellers to our test. And when the test is open and they start taking the test, we'll be able to see their scores update on this page. So in order to add students to the test, I'm going to click bottom right here, add speller, and I'm going to see all 5 students that have created accounts for my school in the OTP so far from this year. And we could sort by grade if we need to. We could sort by last name if you're looking for a specific speller. And this is a 6th grade test, so I am only going to assign Harry and Henry to my test today. And then here we go. So we see their name, we have their email, we do see their status. It is incomplete. It's kind of hard to read. If I zoom out a little bit in my browser, you'll be able to read that a little bit better. And then once their score, as they're taking the test, their score will populate here. We do have the option to click results, which we'll be able to actually click once they start taking the test, and that'll just let us see the students' actual individual results. Remind is way we can send another email to the student's account to let them know that, hey, you have this test. Don't forget that you need to take it by the end of this date. You're welcome to click the remind button as many times as you need to for a student. You could send it once a day. Again, the OTP does send out emails automatically when they've been assigned to the test, when the test opens, 24 hours before the test closes if they haven't taken it yet, and also once the test fully closes. But it is the option if you need to send it to them, remind them again. And we also see the remove. If you accidentally added the wrong student to the test, you could just hit remove and it removes them fair and square. To show you what that looks like real quick, we're going to add Jacques to our test and then realize Jacques really shouldn't be taking this test. I think he knows how to spell some words, so I am going to remove him. I say remove, click OK from this little pop-up, and he's gone. Easy peasy. And then once our students have taken the test, an easy way to sort through their results is that you can actually export a CSV, and that will allow you to sort through all of your students' results, so you can help get that score breakdown if that is something you need. But for now, let's go back to tests. And so the next option, so that was manage spellers. The next one is view test, which if we select that, this just lets you physically see the test questions that you have. So you can see the type of question is spelling, what the word is, and just the information that will be available to your students when they take the test. So you have the origin, the definition or the question, the sentence, part of speech, and also the audio. So let's see. So this was clientele pronounced by Dr. Bailey.
Enough.
Enough, and that was by Akshay. And also, as you might have heard there with enough, if the word has multiple pronunciations, the speller will hear all of the pronunciations, which is very nice. And then if we go down, so this is what vocabulary questions will look like. So you'll see the question here, and then there'll be the options of what. So vocabulary questions are always, I just realized I didn't explain this. Vocabulary questions are always going to be multiple choice based. Your speller will have 4 different options to choose from, and then they just have to select the correct one from the list. And so when describing that, when you go to view test, you see all the options, and the correct one is the one that is highlighted. So for aquamarine, the correct answer is a light greenish blue color. Famine is a period in which of the following is scarce. It would be food. So that was view test. If for some reason you need to delete the test for any reason, you just hit delete. And then we also have you physically type in the words delete just to make sure it's not an accident. Easy peasy, just to make sure something doesn't happen. You accidentally click the wrong test when you're trying to delete it. The final option we see is update, and you'll only see the update button when your test has not opened yet. And you could see that because if we click update, it takes us back to this test creation page where we can now change any of the settings we want for a test. So I could actually go in and I could say, well, I thought 25 minutes was long enough for my students, but after thinking about it longer, I do think they need the full 30 minutes. So I'm going to change that to 30 minutes, and then I hit update test. So then now when my students take the test, once it opens next Monday, they will have the full 30 minutes instead of just 25. The only caveat is that once your test opens, you are not able to change the makeup or the layout of the test at all. So you'll only see this update button when the test has not opened. Other than that, so that's what it looks like from the teacher side. Let's see what students look like when they log into their account. So I'm going to log out of my teacher account, and I already had pre-created a couple student accounts. So this is what a student sees when they log into their account in the OTP. They will see their name on the left-hand menu along with any other students on their account. So if your speller has like an older sibling or a younger sibling, and that classroom is also doing a test in the OTP, your parents can have multiple students assigned to one account in the OTP. So it's not that every student needs their own account, they'd all be listed under one account. Once the students log into their account, they'll be able to take their test by just clicking their name in the left-hand menu. So if we remember, Henry and Harry were assigned to the test. Let's go look at Henry's account. And we can see that he has been assigned to Julia's 6th grade spelling and vocabulary test that opens on the 21st. So once the 21st happens, Henry will be able to log on, click his name, and he'll be able to actually take this test. Now, if you remember, we also added Jacques to the test, but since we removed him, we can see that he currently has no test assigned to him at this time. And then the same thing with Sabrina or James, they don't have tests assigned to them at this time. And if your students' parents accidentally make like a spelling mistake, or they need to fix the grade they enter in when they create their student accounts, they could do that pretty easily. They just click their initials in the top right corner and go to update students. So we could say Jacques is actually not in kindergarten, he's in 1st grade. So very easy to fix that, and then that will also be reflected on the teacher side in the OTP as well. So easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Hopefully, it should be. And again, if you have any questions as you work through the online testing platform yourself, you are more than welcome to reach out to us at spellingbee.com/contact, where if you have any questions, something just doesn't, like just getting an error, feel free to reach out to us. We are more than happy to help. But let's really quickly talk through study resources for your students. So all of the lists can be found from the teacher portal at spellingbee.com. And again, under Classroom Bees is where you could find the individual grade level lists. You can also find the School Bee study list. And again, this year, our study app, the Word Club app, is entirely free to use. So students are more than welcome and encouraged, in fact, to download it either in the Apple App Store or Google Play to play both study and vocabulary word games. And that features all 4,000 words off of our Words of the Champion study list, which is a study list for all bees past the school level, leading up to the 2nd round of competition at the national finals. So it's entirely free to use and has study materials over all 4,000 words. So highly recommend it. It's a very good app. And it's very fun because I use it myself, and I think it's it's tricky. It's very tricky, but I do think it's fun. The app is available for use on smartphones, on tablets, but it is not available on desktop at this time. So I know that was a lot of information, so thanks for sticking with me. And we'll set aside some time for questions if anybody has any. Feel free to ask them using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. And I actually see a question now. So the question is, am I, as a bee coordinator, able to assign every participant at the school under one account, or must students each create their own account? So we do recommend that students have their own accounts. It's just if you have multiple, if you try and create an account where all the students are assigned under one account in the OTP and they try and take the test at the same time, they could experience issues. The system is unfortunately not really made for that, so we do recommend that each student have their own account in the OTP. We have heard success from schools and teachers who have students who have school email addresses, and that if they view that the students are old enough, they are able to create their own accounts in the OTP using the student's school email address. They would just have to make sure that the student knows what the password is for their account, because often with school accounts, the firewall is a lot stricter and does not allow any emails to reach the student's inbox from an outside the school district, so they likely would not be able to receive our reset email. Reset password email if they forgot their password. But if the students are old enough and they are able to do that, but otherwise we do recommend that all students have their own accounts within the OTP itself. But good question. Let's see, are there any other questions? Again, if you don't have any questions, if you think of something like as soon as this webinar is over, you are more than welcome to reach out to us at spellingbee.com/contact and reach out to us and ask questions that way. Yeah, we are more than welcome and happy to help. I do enjoy talking about the online testing platform. I think it's something that is a very helpful resource and tool for educators and teachers and faculty and staff members. And so I'm always excited to talk about ways that we could help make it better and improve it, and just making sure that people know that this is a resource and a tool that's out there for everybody. But it does look like we don't have any other questions at this time, so I think we might be able to end this webinar a little early. So before we do finish up, I do want to say thank you for myself and the entire team here at the Scripps National Spelling Bee. Like I mentioned earlier, we are celebrating our 100th anniversary this year, and our program just generally wouldn't be possible to have survived 100 years without the tireless work of you and all the educators at your schools. And we hope resources like the online testing platform, like I mentioned, make it even easier to bring the spelling bee to your schools, to your students. We so appreciate all of your support. Thanks again for sharing your afternoon with me, and hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Take care, everybody.